What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for thelines.com and playpicks.com. I'm going to talk to you about what's going on with the NHL. We got some word as to how this season is going to progress. Yes, it looks as if we are going to have NHL games again. Now, it is going to be different, much different than we thought here, and we'll go through that with you right now. Let's go ahead and explain how the season's going to work out, and also what's going to happen to those tickets of yours that you may or may not have in your accounts any longer, depending on when you're watching this video here. So if you take a look, they announced that it's going to be a 24-team playoff. They are taking the top 12 teams in each conference as of March the 12th. That is who's going to be playing in the NHL for the Stanley Cup. Now, what you're going to get in this, we'll scroll down a little bit further here. You can see the bye teams here over on the eastern side: Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, and the Flyers. The other 8 teams will play against each other to see who gets to face off against these 4 teams that got a bye. Now, these 4 teams that got a bye, it'll be the same thing over in the Western Conference as well. St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas will all these 4 teams with byes will play a round robin against each other to see the seeding for the first round of the playoffs. And so this is actually a play-in down here amongst the bottom 8 teams. The winner of these series, 5-game series, will then play the 4 teams that got the bye. Now, of course, the seeding hasn't been discovered yet, so that will all come out down the line here. But that's how things are going to work out. 24 teams, 12 from each side. 4 teams get a bye. The other 8 teams play against each other to see who plays the 4 teams that got a bye. You can see, again, Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, and Philly. You can see Pittsburgh, Montreal, Carolina, New York, the Rangers and the Islanders. Florida, Toronto, and Columbus made it over on the eastern side. Here on the western side, St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, Chicago, Nashville, Arizona, Vancouver, Minnesota, Calgary, and the Winnipeg Jets. Now, if you're wondering how this is going to work for everything and when the timeline is here, it looks as if things are going to start to move about June 1 is when teams can go in and start to do some sort of training camp. Now, when does that actually mean the season's going to start? Gary Bettman was very adamant about saying that everything's kind of we're going to see how things play out type scenario. So just so that we know here that we have a format, we don't necessarily have a hard timeline here of when this will actually get going here. Now, they were trying to get to phase 3, which would be the actual everything of the season getting going here, but they're not going to do that any earlier than mid-July. So we're not going to see hockey games until August, most likely. So just know that whenever we kind of go into this, that this is how things are laid out, but we're not necessarily going to see anything going on and probably until August. If you want to take a look here, hey, that's me. I know, look, the hub cities, as far as that goes, not announced as well, but Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Edmonton, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, Toronto, and Vancouver are all in the running to be these hub cities. Of course, hub city meaning all 12 teams will play all the games in one city in the Eastern Conference and in the Western Conference. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. Las Vegas seems to be a front runner for the West side. Keep hearing a ton about either Chicago or Toronto on the East side, but again, don't really know as of yet. Did not take the books very long to get the updated odds up, guys. Here we are looking at what is the odds for these teams to win the Stanley Cup here. Boston is your favorite at over at DraftKings, but you can see kind of a co-favorite over here at FanDuel with Tampa Bay. You can see the odds on Vegas, another popular team that was getting a lot of steam there before things shut down. Colorado, Washington. I actually have a ticket myself on Philadelphia that I made a little bit earlier in the season. Got that at 20-1. So pretty happy to see the 10 and 11-1 odds there on Philadelphia. I'll continue to scroll down and you can watch along and kind of see where your team and the odds come out. I mean, you can see once we get down to the bottom down here, you're looking at Montreal and Chicago coming in at 70 and 75-1 over on DraftKings, and then 100-1 over on FanDuel for the super long shots here. But you can see the odds on all of these teams to win the Stanley Cup here if you want to get involved. And of course, you can just click on either one of these banners right here over the lines if you want to take advantage of the deposit offers. Now, if you made a bet earlier in the season, you're probably wondering what's going on there. This is pretty much what's going to happen universally. Now, you are going to need to check the rules in the specific book that you made your bet at, but most likely everything is going to be refunded outside of Stanley Cup champions and even conference champions. Now, that is kind of a sticky one as well. You're going to make sure you need to check your book as well. But anything that was outside of that, pretty much going to be refunded here. So we're talking player props, anything that was a yes, no, top goal scorer, anything like that. Anything that you needed 81 or 82 games, depending on which book you bet at, is likely to have been refunded to you already. Or if you're holding a paper ticket, will be refunded to you whenever you go in and turn that thing in. So really the only thing that most books have kept open is if you had a Stanley Cup future ticket, if you had a conference future ticket, and some of them are doing the season awards as well. And again, check with your book to see there as to which way they are going with that. Here are the opening odds for those play-in series that are going on over there. If you want to get involved with those, you can see nobody huge favorites here other outside of the Penguins, nearly 2-1 favorites there to get out of the qualification round. But a lot of interesting matchups here and a very interesting way that we're going to go about getting NHL games in our lives. Look, it's not the perfect plan. It's better than nothing. So we will have NHL back in our lives when those hub cities are announced and whenever we start getting a little bit clarification on the seedings and everything like that. Of course, we'll have all that at the lines. We'll have it on the podcast. We'll have it right here on the video channel as well. So please give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to this thing, and we'll be back with more information for you guys.